Welcome to the next video in the ongoing isolation series. Now, if you're just joining here, this is a series where I take some videos from the past and look back at them, or take some material from the past and repackage it and present it in a new way. This video needs a little bit of background and setup before we get into it. It was originally shot in 2007 in a small ghost town in Saskatchewan. Featured in the video is my former neighbor, Don. Now, Don actually grew up in this ghost town, and what you're going to see is us visiting the remains of his childhood home. Now, one of the things we always talk about is visiting these abandoned and historic places and thinking about the stories of the people who lived there, and so many times we have to make those stories up in our mind. But in this special video, we don't have to make up the stories. We get to hear them firsthand from the man who lived them. So as I said, I originally shot this in 2007 on a small digital video camcorder. And I had some technical glitches with the tape, and a large portion of the video ended up getting destroyed. However, a few years later, I revisited that footage, and I discovered that with a little tweaking, I could make it work and still present a bit of a narrative. So you're going to notice some issues with the video, but that's purely an artifact of how it was recorded back in the day and the technical problems I had. So this is really special. Without further ado, let's go check out Don and his childhood home in Saskatchewan.
The sidewalk ended. My grandmother's house was in here when we did around. There were two elevator systems here, and the Saskatchewan Pool was here in Western Line elevators. My dad worked for Western Line, and the Pool built their house here. I helped the basement in here in, I'm thinking 47 likely. And the Sargana here, 1942 was quite a wet year, and I helped my dad plant those, and of course they got out of control over these years.
Daddy, coal furnace?
Yeah, you're right. And converted sometime after I left. Chains for controlling the coal furnace, like you mentioned, and almost invariably, if I was studying at night, it was very quiet. One of those chains would let go, and the door would fall down on the front furnace, and you thought ghosts were in the house. Anyway, we can go down past here and show you a little bit more, and up the other end, whatever. I don't have any picture of it, but it was a little house that was moved off of where those trees are up there. It was that was my dad's land, and his brother had lived there. And they brought the house down here with an old rumbly oil pole.
Oh, an old rumbly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Pulled it in here and then set it on. I had dug a hole for them, and then they put the blocks.
Oh, they think you dig the hole.
I don't really know. I suppose I worked at it for 3 or 4 days or more, because of course I was right next door. So.
And what time of year did you dig the hole?
I dug it in I'm thinking September.
Oh, it wasn't too bad September.
No, that's right. I'll be glad of that.
So this is, where'd you put all the dirt?
Well, I just put it out to the side. I'm not exactly sure what happened to it all.
It was quite a big house, wasn't it?
Yes, it was a good size. And to begin with, when we first moved into this house, my mother's garden was here. And I'll just tell you a little story quickly. My dad had a garage on the end of that, and I wanted to put my nice new bike inside the garage. There was a storm coming, and I and my cousin were shoving the door shut when the garage started to go up. I know it sounds funny, this is not camsat, but a whirlwind came through past the grain elevator, tore the spout off the elevator, lifted Dad's garage up and brought it down here in Mom's garden and tore it all apart just in 4 pieces, just split the corner 2x4s and left it lying here. We didn't get hurt, we left it. Yeah, that's standing.
Whoa!
Oh, there's a hole there.
You alright?
Yep.
You haven't rolled around in this yard for long.
Yeah, that's looking west. My son says to everybody, he says, Dad, you can see the Pacific Ocean behind the car.
Oh. That's looking west. That's from the front of the house then?
Front of the house, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And the car was parked on this side
On
over
that
here.
side, that's where we drove into this garage that the storm blew away.
Okay. Did you ever put the garage back up after the
Yes,
storm?
yeah, got the storekeeper's boys and some other boys, and we pulled it up and put it together on this corner with the high side facing south then. Yeah, there were 5 of us here, and then part of the time the school teachers boarded at our house as well until the teacherage was built. That's how I met the one girl. I'm coming back in a week's time with her. She's coming down. She has friends here.
I don't know what that...
That's a big one. Almost lost you.
That's right. Well, at least the bad holes were kind of over that way where our outhouse sat. Then we had a house, kind of, that was the ball diamond down there, and there was another house brought in there, and some people lived there for a while. She was a horse trainer from Northwest here. Yeah, there is a full concrete basement under there, but I've never walked out on there because I don't want to be wearing it. There was a well here at one time, but Dad filled that in, used it for disposal.
Where the dirt come from there?
Maybe. The town well is out here. There's a lot of alkali water around here. These 2 farms over here always hauled their drinking water from this well, and so did one farm further west. Now the boy that I grew up with owns his father's land here, and he has a water line from this well to their house over there. You can probably see a mark where our dog slept on that back step. The dog was always in the middle of the back step. We thought it was a palace when we moved into it, because we were living in a little shack on the farm out there.
What would have been a palace?
It
2 stories?
was 2 stories.
2 stories,
right.
Yeah. When did it collapse, do you know?
Well, I was gone. My parents left here in '67 or somewhere, and then the other boy bought it and started to tear it down. He had the roof off, and it sat here. Gee, I wouldn't know when it collapsed. My sister in Swift Current might know, but it sat here for quite a while with the studs up from the first floor. The top floor had been taken off. And we had a cousin in the Air Force during the Second World War, and he was a training instructor, and he flew those little Cornells, I believe they're called. He used to fly between the 2 elevators down there, and my sister and I went tearing across the floor to look at him on that side of the house, and she put her foot through the china cabinet glass and bit her tongue at the same time. So, my mother owned lots on this side then, and this was where we kept our chickens, and then we did have a bit of a barn there. We had a cow which we tethered on the CPR tracks on the chain and sold the milk to the few people that lived here.
Is that the original hall?
Yes, that was built in 28, I believe, 1928. Yeah, it's really the only building that's left. The machine shed was built here after I left, and I don't know whose granaries these are. Probably belong to the Christopher's farm next year. Probably belong to Christopher's.
And that's the school over there, right?
That's the school that was moved in. I didn't attend that school. I attended Marks, about a mile west. And then in, I think it says on there 46. So that must have been when we pulled it in here, and it sat down here. and it was here. Now I don't know when it was moved up there, sometime in the 70s, I think. But it was halfway between Braddock and Hallcrest. It was called Etrick Bank School then. Before the boys had left for the Second World War, our skating rink was from the hall over to the storekeeper's house. It was a good size, but of course once they were gone, there was nobody here to flood things and And some of you noticed the Turkey Track Ranch is here. Well, the Turkey Track Ranch did stretch one time from Tabor, Alberta, through the east of Hollandquist. The western boundary now was on the west side of my dad's land, just east of those trees up there, and of course stretches to Hollandquist now. Okay.
Well, thank you so much for this tour.
Oh, thank you. Well,
Good to
just
hear it again the second time. Oh, yeah, sorry.
a little bit of the history while I lived here. And 2 years ago, the students got together here and they decided they could have a mark-up here for the school that they attended here. So they came and they had a boy here, Stanley Anderson. He's now 6 feet something and 100 pounds heavier than I am. And they had his grade 1 teacher here, teach a girl that I'm coming back with in a week or so. And they had a good reunion, about 120. Across the road for a long time, Adam Laidlaw ran that. He drew the plowshares. They were still using the plowshares when I was a small kid, and then fixed a lot of other stuff. And further down was actually another store, and that's where my dad met my mother. She worked in that store. And he took out that land there in 26 or somewhere and came down to buy an axe handle, and that started all this.